sol brilha, com o calor do povo e a alegria que contagia. O Brasil é um lugar de cor e de amor, onde o ritmo do reggae é um verdadeiro esplendor.
Alright, so software development vlog in Rio de Janeiro. I got my laptop in the back, so that's where I'll be doing most of my work. This is the AirBnb actually. And the goal of the vlog is just going to be showing you more or less a week in the life of a software developer. Look at nice kitchen, some more working space, couch in the bathroom. Now I'm going to go for a workout and yeah, basically just show day by day most of the basic stuff. I got a bike subscription, I have a surfboard, I got my bus card. And then you guys can see for yourself what it's like to live in Rio. Alright, so we just came back from the gym, got a nice workout in, and now it's time to avoid the hottest hours of the day by getting some work done. So because I have some time now, I would just like to show you guys what I've been working on and how I'm trying to improve the app. Right, so this is what I have so far. There's two sections of the app where you can create new words. So if you go on here, there's a list of all the words that I've created. And at the bottom, you can also just add a new word. Also, there's two types of words. There are non-verbs and also verbs. So if you click is verb, then you get different options to add the conjugations of those verbs. And then in the other section, you can actually learn the words that you're interested in learning. So for example, every word has two actions where you can set it to mastered, which means you know the word and you're not interested in learning it anymore. And you can also refresh it tomorrow if you think you've mastered it, but still want to learn it one or two more times. And if you then correctly enter the translation, so for example, in Portuguese, the translation of keep is manter, then it gives some feedback. So that's the status of the app right now. And one of the things I'm working on is to improve the learning experience and make it easier for a user to actually remember the words they're learning. And one way I'm trying to do that is to make the words that you didn't get correct reappear in the list at a later position. So for example, if the user continues and they enter an incorrect translation, I would like the word happen to then move on at some random position later on in the list so that they can try again. And I think this is going to work well because if you're getting multiple words wrong, you're not going to be able to progress to the next words until you've mastered those words. So you'll be stuck in this cycle of words that you haven't completely remembered. So I think that would improve the experience, or at least improve how quickly people can learn memorize the new words. All right, so let's take a look at how this app is actually currently being built with Svelte and how we're going to try to make those changes to create the feature. So I have an eraser page that is kind of explaining the architecture and what each component is responsible for. And the main component is this page.svelte, which is the same as in NextJS, just your server component that's responsible for getting and also posting the data. And that you can imagine it as like the outer page here that's responsible for rendering the words and also the logic for switching between words. So how it works right now is this page.svelte file gets the words from the database. And those words are going to be passed as props to the verb card and to the non-verb card in order to print their information. So that's one part of it. And in this same Svelte file, you can also define actions or server actions, they're called in NextJS. And the important thing to remember about server actions is that they actually invalidate the data that you get from the database. So whenever a user performs an action, this data from the load function will be invalidated and will be returned to the parent component again. So it will be recreated. So the reason why that's important is because we can't use that array to actually print our child components. So if you imagine this parent component has an array of words, of child components, so that's all the words that you're actually practicing. And right now, I'm just looping through those words. But if we want to add that feature where an incorrect word gets added to the list, we can't use that array directly, because if we did, so imagine if the user got this word wrong, and we added it to a later position in the array. And then a user at some point continues and decides to set this word to mastered. What's going to happen is the action is going to invalidate the data that we get from the database. So in here, the action here is going to invalidate this data and then refresh the actual array of words directly from the one that they got from the database. And that will override the changes we made in our component. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so if that didn't make much sense to you, hopefully it will in code. So here are the actual page child component that I was talking about, and also the server component that's responsible for loading the data. And then that data is made available through the data prop in Svelte. And then here is the words array, which I'm planning to use to actually render the child components. So you can see here that words is a separate array. Data is the initial data we get from the database, and words I'm going to be using to track like the way we're manipulating the array by, for example, adding a word at a later position and removing it from the current position. And it's a state variable, which means that it's initialized by this data, but changes to the data won't change the words. So that's the initial plan. Or the problem I'm having with this is that any changes that the user makes will now not be updated. So if a user now comes in and sets this word to mastered, the data prop here will be updated with the new information, but the actual data that we're using to print the child props, which are going to be from this words array, are not getting updated. Which means if we want to do some conditional UI, for example, to check these statuses of the word, it won't be updated in the actual child. And that's kind of the problem I'm having. I can't figure out a way to make any actions that the user takes not refresh the page, while also providing the latest information to the page. So it's a bit of this trade-off that I haven't found a perfect solution to yet. Now we're gonna explore the city more, and then tomorrow we're gonna go try out surfing in Ipanema. And hopefully the day after I can finish this problem and release a new version of the app.
All right, it's a beautiful day out here in Rio de Janeiro. I'm gonna hit the waves.
Hit the waves, the Apuador.
Apuador, famous beach of Ipanema. We're gonna go surfing, catch some clips, catch some fails, and then hopefully make some content out of it.
Start the day well.
Start the day well, boys. Can't be in Europe this time of the year. We're gonna be riding that mess. Famous mountains of Rio.
Nosso lar, nosso sonho, nosso amor. Brasil do nosso Senhor, com dia na frente, vivemos sem louvor. Brasil do nosso Senhor, nosso lar, nosso sonho, nosso amor. Brasil do nosso Senhor, com dia na frente, vivemos sem louvor.
All right, another beautiful sunny day out in Rio. This is Kai's first introduction to the vlog. What are we saying, boys? Didi's in the scene. Where are we heading today, boys?
We're heading to the Lagoa.
Lagoa.
Which means swim in this painfully hot weather.
Yes, 34 degrees today. Lagoa means lake, for your information. I'll put a little Google Maps so you guys can see where it's at.
Big lake.
Big lake.
Muito grande.
Behind
Ipanema. And
yeah.
We're gonna check it out today.
Exploring before exploitation.
Explore before exploit. One more thing is I'm here in my Brazilian outfit. I got no shirt, almost no pants.
The locals do it like that.
The vibes, it's busy.
No morro, venha ensinar a força da comunidade a vibrar. Na corda da vida um violão, ritmo sincero, calor do chão. Vendo das histórias de remanescente, sorrisos e abraços, o amor é constante. Lá na praça todo mundo a celebrar. Com folhas de palmeira, a festa começar. O batuque ressoa.
Alright boys, that's some Fast and Furious 5 biking here at the Lagoa. There's Jesus.
About to take a dip.
Ipanema is more that side. Those are all hikeable mountains.
Where's your mouse?
It's a big lake.
Boy. Imagine dying because of a big cobra.
Me miro y sonrío, el sol brilló. Quiero viajar en ti, y en tus sueños suspirar. haciendo suave.
Good morning vlog.
Another
Yeah,
day,
Gavea.
another day in Rio de Janeiro. Yesterday we had a busy day. Did a hike, we went biking, ended up on the beach to watch the sunset with some pizzas. Today is Sunday,
Another hike.
another hike and catch some shots. It's called Rio de, what is it?
Pedra da Gavea.
Oh.
Pedra da Gavea. It's one of the bigger hills in Rio. We're gonna have a really nice viewpoint up there.
So we'll catch some shots of the journey and then let you guys see.
Água de Copacabana, cristalina e pura, reflete o sol mais que fartura. Areia de Copacabana, fina e macia, aconchega os pés e a alma que irradia. Copacabana.
Right. What the hike did to him. Ben jij van elkaar?
Ik heb dorst. Ik wil gewoon agua de coco.
Cola.
Mooi uitzicht en zo, man. Maar ik wil gewoon agua de coco.
Baby das.
3-hour hike complete, 3.5 hours I guess, to the top and down. Now we're gonna go explore some more. What's the beach called? Joutinho. Joutinha, now Joutinha even. It's a bay. Apparently a lot of favela boys go there, kick a ball around. So this is a classic Brazilian lunch. You order food thinking you're not gonna get a lot. And then this portion of just rice, broccoli, fries, and all of this chicken is just for me, for like €6. And they got this insane
Chicken.
beans, chicken with cheese, and some
Feijoada.
crust, and they get all of this. All of that for, what was it? 7, so like €10. Yes, bon appetit, boys.
We'll have to see about that.
Alright, so I had less time than I thought to actually code. The clips you guys just saw was of the weekend, from Friday to Sunday. And today is actually Tuesday. So today I managed to just actually implement the feature. And that's what I'm going to show you today. And then also just a live demo. So basically, what I ended up doing is in the word cards, the child components, I added a prop, which is a function. So in here you can see the handle incorrect answer. And that function is going to be passed by the parent, so in the page.svelte file. So if you quickly see, that prop function is actually being called within the handle submit function, which gets called when the user submits the form. So there's a form here which contains the actual input, which is this one. And when a user submits an answer, the form action is called. And if the answer is correct and the user attempted the word 3 times, we're going to then call this prop, which is passed by the parent, and give in the word. So now in the actual parent component, we declare the function, and that takes that ID, and it basically generates a random number between 3 and 8, and then checks to see if that index that it created, is it actually in the array? Because it's possible that if you add that random index to the position, so let's say we're at the end here, and then you add a random index between 3 and 8, it's possible that that goes over the array. So we just need to make sure that it is that index is actually in the array. And if it is, then add it at that location, and if it isn't, just add it to the end of the list. It's basically what this part is doing. So it removes it at the current location and adds it at that new position. And then the whole thing resets, so the input resets. Now you can kind of see that in action. If I get this word wrong, so the user then sees, okay, first letters are starting with A. Let's say they get it wrong again, then they can type in the correct answer, and it leaves, and somewhere later on to keep it's coming back. So in this case, it generated at the last possible position. So that's basically how the feature works. I'm curious if you guys have a better way of implementing it, since I'm not fully happy with the way I created it now. It does the job, it works. It's a bit inconsistent between the data that you get from the database and the actual array we use to render child components. But anyways, now it's time to go to a Christian parade.
Bad timing, bro.
Close to Lapa, people training for carnival.
Training for carnival. We're here for like some kind of Christian parade apparently, and catch some shots of more of the culture.